So good evening, everybody. I would like to thank you all for joining us tonight for another instance of
with Andrew and Yvonne. This show is not your traditional dry webinar. We are going to present some very important information to you this evening, and we are going to do that by talking about real life situations. You see my bios coming across the screen, Andrew Gelosa's bios coming across the screen. We have great guests for you this evening, right, Andrew?
We certainly do. This is the Dessert with Andrew and Yvonne show, and we bring you information that you can use, and we hope that you will pass it on. This internet talk show is created for you, and we want to bring you information and guests that reflect what's important to all of you. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you from time to time to please type in, if you get the urge, to type in and tell us what you'd like to see in the future. We have a plan for next month, and we have plans for the future, but what we'd really like you to do is to put some information in there so that we can understand what it is you'd like us to see. And Tiffany will give you some prompts. So we have Tiffany from the Estate Planning and Elder Law Group, who will be helping us here tonight, as she always does. And so she'll be helping present information to you, putting up polls, and we're going to be doing a survey as well. So we're going to make you 3 promises. We're going to ask for 1 in return. We're going to promise you that A, we're going to give you some really good, useful information. Number 2, you're going to be entertained and probably will laugh at least 1 or 2 times. And that the time is going to go by really quick, because that's what happens when you're having a good time. You don't notice the time passing. And if we do that for you, we're hoping that you'll live up to the promise we're asking of you is, please fill in those surveys for us so we understand how we're doing, and so we get some kind of feeling for how it's appearing on your side. Right, Yvonne?
Absolutely, Andrew. Thank you. Tonight, as we usually do, we'd like to spotlight and highlight businesses in the community. We will have giveaways from local community businesses. We have gift cards to them. As you know, small businesses are really the backbone of America, and we really need to support our local organizations. One of the businesses names tonight is El Polo Real, and they're at 6951 Grand Avenue, Maspeth, New York, 11378. I'll just repeat that again. They have very, very delicious Spanish food. We have a $50 gift card there. It's El Polo Real. That's 6951 Grand Avenue, Maspeth, New York, 11378. The second business we have tonight is J&K Nail Center at 6919 Grand Avenue. That's Maspeth, New York, 11378. I just want to repeat that, J&K Nail Center, 6919 Grand Avenue, Maspeth, New York, 11378. That nail salon is actually right next to my home care agency, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. So whoever wins that $50 gift card tonight, please go over there and get your nails done. Andrew will explain how we do these gift card giveaways, please.
Thank you, no problem. So sometime in the middle of this presentation, we're going to choose numbers between 1 and 7, and you're going to put in the chat your choice of a number between 1 and 7, and the 2 people who are the first to get the right number will win those gift certificates. So we'll do that in a little while, and remember, when we ask you, please choose the numbers between 1 and 7. Yvonne?
Thank you very much, Andrew. Now on to our show. I am very excited to introduce my co-host, Andrew Gelosa, and Andrew is going to tell us some very important information about his firm.
Yes, the Estate Planning and Elder Law Group. That's who we are, Andrew L. Gelosa and Associates. And we're located in Glendale, Queens, and what we are is a full-service estate planning and elder law firm. We deal with clients who are young professionals, young couples starting out, to help have some kind of, guardianship directions in case something happens and they have young children. We're talking about people who are more established, middle-class people, wondering about how they can make plans to give away what they have to whom they want, how they want it. And clients who are 65 and over, who are beginning to be concerned about long-term care issues, or have parents, people who have parents who are 65 and over, who have are concerned about doing planning for their parents, because As we all know, as we get older, there is more likelihood that we're going to need some long-term care. We also help people plan to do Medicaid planning to get long-term care benefits, and we do estate and trust administration, either probates, administrations for end of death issues, helping families who unfortunately have people who have passed away. So we are basically a full service firm, and we deal with all issues, estate planning and elder law. That's what we specialize in. And now Yvonne is going to explain what Beacon Elder Care does.
Why, thank you very much, sir. Hello again to everybody that's joining us tonight. My name's Yvonne Murphy, and I am the owner of Beacon Elder Care. We are a licensed home care agency. We're licensed in the 5 boroughs in Nassau County, and we provide the home health aides that take care of mom and dad, grandma and grandpa, and they help people with disabilities. I often hear people say after I do these shows, or, oh, Yvonne, we were waiting for you to say something that compelled me to pick up the phone and call you. Well, you know, what's going to compel our audience to pick up the phone and call us is all the important information that we impart to you. For me to let you know that Beacon Elder Care, which provides the home health aides and the nurses, we allow you to stay in your home longer and keep you safe. And I am glad to have this opportunity month after month to continue to remind you that Beacon Elder Care has home health aides and nurses, and to bring you additional information that is very important that you can apply in your everyday life. So thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you, Yvonne. So tonight, the topic is one of those places of information that is very, very important, very timely, because there's really so many things going on where people are targeting our elders and seniors to try to scam them out of money. And they're doing it in many different ways. And so we brought some very, very good guests here tonight. We have Laura Jackson from Maspeth Federal Savings, and we have Peter Gordon from the New York Financial Organizers, who's a daily money manager. And if you've never heard about that before, you'll know a lot more about it when we finish. So tonight's topic is elder financial abuse prevention. And we're also going to announce now our first poll. So as an audience, we really want you to participate. And so we're going to put up a poll, and we're going to ask you to please answer, as Yvonne is going to explain a story to explain something that is very relevant to this topic.
Yes, thank you very much, Andrew. So I am going to tell just a quick story about a person in the community that I know that was scammed out of money, and they were scammed out of that money because they had people approach them, and they approached them to tell them that they had this business model that they wanted them to invest in, sort of a get rich quick plan that they had. So my senior, who's disabled, has multiple medical illnesses. These 2 people came and they told him about the plan, and he wrote them $10,000 and then $5,000 and then another $10,000 and then $20,000. By the time my little guy was finished, he was up to over $100,000 in checks that he wrote out to these 2 individuals. Thereafter, when he ran out of money, you would think that now that he has no money, the scammers would kind of leave him alone. But this was not the case. They continued to request money from him, and he continued to provide them with his credit cards, and he wound up $200,000 in debt over thinking that he could get rich overnight, which, by the way, folks, I just want to tell you, it's a very small likelihood that you can give money to a stranger and you are going to get rich overnight. So I would implore you not to do that. I would caution you not to do that. And I would tell you that most likely you're not going to get rich giving all of your money to those 2 people, like Andrew's son. But if you keep your money in your bank account, you will have resources for yourself for the future. Right, Andrew? We can go on to our next poll with that now.
We certainly can. So let's go over the poll results. So question number 1, have you or anyone you know been a target of elder financial abuse? And basically, more people than not are saying they haven't been or don't know anybody who has. So 69% said no, 31% said yes. Has anyone ever stolen your identity? And again, happy to hear that the majority of people haven't been the victim of identity theft, but still 15% of our audience has. So that's that still is a large number. Has your bank ever alerted you about anyone trying to improperly access your accounts? Actually, 31% of people have. So obviously, banks are where money is. That's where your money is, and people know where to go to try to get your money. So I guess that's why really a full third of everybody who's here has had some issues with someone trying to improperly take money from your accounts. So, and with that, I'm going to bring on our first guest, which is Laura Jackson from Maspeth Federal Savings Bank. She is the Vice President, Chief Compliance Officer, and Community Investment Officer for Maspeth Federal. Ms. Jackson is responsible for ensuring that Maspeth Federal functions in a legal and ethical manner while meeting its business goals, and is responsible for developing compliance programs, reviewing company policies, advising management on possible risks, and also runs neighborhood seminars helping teach people about what happens with elder abuse, fraudulent attempts to affect our seniors. So without further ado, I'm going to begin sharing the screen, and Ms. Jackson is going to take you through it, because unfortunately, we have a little bit of a technical difficulty. That's why we're not seeing Ms. Jackson, but we're going to overcome. Ms. Jackson?
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Andrew and Ms. Murphy, for inviting me to share this important information with your audience. It is my pleasure to be here this evening. And Andrew, thank you for being my technical assistant with this as well. If you would go to the next slide. Yes, we're presenting financial elder abuse. This is just a legal disclaimer saying that this is a publication of my experiences with elder abuse, and Maspeth Federal Savings and its board of directors and or affiliates, are not associated with, any inaccuracies or anything. It's a legal financial disclaimer that has to be in every training. So if we could go to the next screen and just get to the meat. Thank you very much, Andrew. So financial elder abuse. Over 50 million Americans are age 62 and over. And as a baby boomer, I'm going to be in this category very soon. And it's unfortunate that older adults are prime targets for financial exploitation by persons sometimes that they know and trust, and sometimes by strangers. And it's a sad thing to say that elder exploitation and financial abuse can be defined as a crime of the 21st century, because this is what happens. Every year, billions of dollars are lost from, or stolen actually, from older adults because of the illegal or improper use of their personal funds, property, assets, and just exploitation, just like Ms. Murphy just described with that man that lost $200,000. It happens every day. And it not only impacts, our elders, everybody can fall prey to a scam. But unfortunately, the fraudsters prey on the elders because as a whole, older adults possess more financial assets than other demographics. It's the grandparents and the parents that have all the money, not the new millennials. So next screen, please, Andrew. Thank you. And why is elder financial exploitation growing so fast? Part of the reason is that Americans are aging. We are living longer. We have worked hard, and we have a lot of assets. And so as we continue to turn 65, the elderly population is growing. And so what they're saying is, as we're turning 65, up until by 2034, there will be more people age 65 and above than children for the first time in history in the United States. So
Wow.
This older demographic is just growing, getting larger and larger. And then, I guess that's good to medical science and people actually taking better care of themselves and health. Please, next screen, Andrew. So, and why don't older adults report this financial exploitation? Sometimes it's shame and embarrassment, or out of loyalty to a family member, or even fear of retaliation. For instance, that is that example that Ms. Murphy shared. I'm sure that individual might be afraid of those two people if they took over $200,000. I would be afraid if somebody took $20 from me. So I can only imagine 200,000. And then they also don't, sometimes report it because they're in denial about it, or they're dependent upon that person that exploited them for maybe their food or medical transportation. And then sometimes they blame themselves, like, the victim blames themselves. Why did I do this? And sometimes they just don't even know who to turn to. So that's why we have some information here. Next screen, please, Andrew. So you would think that abuser would come to you, that, they've got a T-shirt that says, I'm an abuser. But no, they don't. They come to you in the form of, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a family member, sometimes it's somebody that's there to help you, sometimes it's a stranger. The strangers are more common, but, there are instances where it is a family member or a brand new friend. Sometimes people have a new girlfriend or a new boyfriend out of the blue. So we have to be careful of just everyone. So some of the common scams, I'm just going to go over a few of them, and we do have some handouts there for everyone. So some of the common scams are, they want you to wire money, and that's something that Ms. Murphy just talked about. There is nothing that is, if it sounds too good to be true, it definitely is too good to be true. Do not wire money. They will say, oh, you have won a contest. That's the other one, the lottery. You're a winner. And all you need to do is give us your bank account information. And once they get your bank account information, they will steal the money from your bank account. So you do not want to give them any bank account information. Or the next one is the online dating scam. You meet someone and they say, oh, I love you. You've only met them for a couple of months, and now they love you. And then all of a sudden they have an emergency and they need to borrow money. Yeah, be careful. Red flags should go up. Sirens, ding, ding, ding. No. Warning, warning. Do not give anybody bank account information. Do not borrow money. Do not borrow money to anybody that you have just met within 12 to 18 months. No. Then the other one is the healthcare scam. They'll call you up trying to sell you, oh, we can, lower your medical costs. Just give us your Social Security number or your Medicare number. Let me tell you something, people. Nobody from Medicare ever calls anybody. Never give out your Medicare number or your Social Security number. That is a scam. Just hang up.
If I can jump in on that, I personally get those phone calls because, I'm responsible for a lot of people. So for whatever reason, I get these calls and they ask me for my Medicare number, me for my date of birth. But my response is always, well, you called me. And if you're Medicare, you should have that information. And then I immediately hang up.
Exactly, Ms. Murphy. Did everybody hear? Ms. Murphy said she immediately hangs up, and that's what you should do. Because let me tell you something, Medicare is not calling anyone. No, they don't call anyone. So if somebody says, hi, I'm from Medicare, I just need your Medicare number or your Social Security number. Just hang up, and don't feel bad about hanging up.
My favorite is when they tell me that they're telling me they're cutting off my Social Security card. I like when they call and say, I'm in danger, they're going to be cutting off my Social Security card. There's all different kinds of crazy scams.
Oh, exactly. The other one is a charity scam, and they want you, they'll pull on your heartstrings about, people that are, have medical issues and they want you to get to a charity. Or the last one is the grandparent scam. And this is where they call up elders and then they claim that they are their grandchild, saying that they are either arrested or have a medical emergency. And this personally happened to my mother. They actually called up my mother, claimed to be my nephew, her grandson, saying, oh, I got arrested, blah, de, blah, and I need $5,000 to get out of jail. Really? I mean, My mother called me and was telling me this. I said, Mom, just hang up. Don't give them anything. I tell you, they prey on the elderly, okay?
Certainly do.
Is this the last slide, Andrew?
It is.
Yes.
It is the
So,
last slide, but we're going to share some information for them now, right?
yes, thank you so much, Andrew, if you would bring that up. So if anyone on this line, if they've ever had any of these scams, just hang up. And this right here is in the handouts that you can print out and have for yourself. There are certain phone numbers on here that you can call if you've ever been a victim of this type of abuse, or you know someone or a friend. You can call these numbers and they will definitely help you out. And you can also call your local police department as well. And again, I thank you very much, Ms. Murphy and Andrew, for being my hands and my assistant with this. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate both of you.
Well, we appreciate you coming, Laura. Thank you so very much. That was really a great presentation. We're going to put the handouts into the chat, and so that everybody can download all of the information about the various scams and about whom to contact. Yep. Yvonne, we can't hear you, Yvonne.
Okay, now, right?
Yeah, you sound much better.
So what I wanted to say is Andrew and I are we're coining our phrase of pass it on. So all of those that signed up for this very informative seminar this evening, we are going to email you this information, and most importantly, we're going to email you that list of phone numbers where you can reach out and get help from somebody if you or someone you know are a victim of scams.
Exactly. Just every week, or I'm sorry, every month when we appear in front of you, we're going to be giving you information that you can really use, and we're going to ask you to pass it on, because that's the only way we avoid people becoming victims of things like elder abuse, or getting the information about why you are eligible for things that you think you might not be, because we know from our experience, our guests know from their experience, the real answers. And so it's a good place to get information, and please pass it on.
Right. So we're going to go into our first question to Laura, which is, Laura, how does someone report financial abuse if their account at the bank is compromised?
Okay, Ms. Murphy, that's an excellent question. So if their account, if their bank is compromised, I know at Master Federal, any one of our customers can walk into any branch and put in a claim. Let's say their account was compromised. Somebody took the money out of their checking account via like an ACH. All they have to do is fill out a form at their local bank, come to Master Federal if you have an account with us, and any of our, team members in the branch will be happy to assist you and get that claim in so that, those charges can get reversed and your money can get back to your account.
Okay, great. That is great information. Thank you again, Laura. We're going to move on now. So the next thing we have is our poll. Poll number 2. Tiffany, can you put it up? Thank you. Poll number 2 has to do with, can you imagine, with daily money managers. So please go through, please answer those questions. And right now, we are going to, one of my favorite parts of this presentation, we're going to get the numbers.
And
So
I don't know the numbers.
No, we don't tell Yvonne the numbers because she doesn't.
I say the numbers. Oh, goodness.
So
okay.
Tiffany, everybody, please put in either the Q&A or in the chat, please put your number between 1 and 7. And Peter, you can't win, okay? All right, that's great. Everybody doing their thing? Excellent. 2 lucky winners will be receiving a gift card. Each of them will get 1 gift card to one of our 2 sponsors, the Pollo Real and the C&K Nail Center. So the numbers for tonight are 2 and 6. Tiffany, do we have winners?
We have, let's see, Stephanie Ross, who guessed 6.
All right.
And nobody got the other number. I think you have to guess, you have to come up with another number. Sir.
Nobody, okay, we can do that. This is our first that we didn't have a winner. So we're gonna go for a number between 1 and 5. Everybody put in a number between 1 and 5. Okay. We have all of our numbers in. The number is 4. So somebody has the lucky number 4, I hope.
I see 4 on the screen, but I don't know if it's the first 4. So
It's Angela.
yes,
Angela got it.
congratulations, Angela.
Congratulations, Angela. And congratulations, Stephanie. So great. And now can we get the results of the second poll, please? Do you know what a daily money manager is and what they do? Most people don't, but you will leave here knowing what a daily money manager is and what they do. Do you know anyone that has used the services the services of a geriatric care manager? We'll be talking about that too today. So 54% did not, but almost half did. So it's 50-50. Did you or anyone you know ever have trouble managing their finances? And more than 50% have said yes. And with that, we're going to introduce our second panelist, who is Peter Gordon, who's the president of New York Financial Organizers, otherwise known as NYFO. After learning to navigate the tricky waters of Medicaid, Medicare, and community trusts and estate planning for his own parents, Peter began NYFO in 2015 with the goal of helping others gain peace of mind and security with their families or their own financial affairs. Peter works closely with his clients and other trusted advisors, often acting as a power of attorney, executor, or trustee. Peter is a member and past president of the New York chapter of the American Association of Daily Money Managers, known as ADAM, and he's a certified senior advisor and has successfully completed the Article 81 guardianship training. He has an MBA in finance from Baruch College, lives in Forest Hills, and is married and has 2 sons, so he's a family man as well. And I guess the first question we'll ask Peter is, how did you get into helping the elderly with their finances, Peter?
Well, first of all, thank you, Yvonne and Andrew, for inviting me to speak. It's a great forum. Pretty much as you said in my bio, I started by helping my parents. My father became ill a number of years ago, and I'm kind of fortunate in that my brother, my sister, and I are very close, and we're close with our mom as well. And we didn't know what to do. We didn't know where to turn. And I was not in this industry at the time, but I did a lot of networking. And I met somebody who suggested I should speak to a geriatric care manager, which is essentially what Yvonne does, and among other things. And we did, and that changed our lives, literally, because this care manager helped us navigate the very difficult waters of geriatric care in terms of medical assistance. And it really, it helped my family assist my dad and allow to live the rest of his life in dignity. A few years later, my mother became ill. She actually had dementia. She was homebound. She couldn't get out of bed on her own. And through the care manager, we met an attorney, not Andy at the time. I didn't know him. And we applied for community Medicaid. And because of that, my mom was able to age in place at home. She was a teacher who had a very good retirement and had a nice apartment, but she really didn't have much other savings. Community Medicaid allowed her to pass on her legacy while living her life out the way she wanted to, which is the way most people do, which is living it at home and aging in place. And at that point, I was transitioning from my second career. My first career happened to be more in the world of Wall Street. And then my second career was in graphic design. That's a long story that we won't go into. But at that time, I was interested in becoming a geriatric care manager, and I started talking to people about it. And I realized it wasn't for me. And I spoke to someone who I thought was a care manager, but he was a daily money manager. And what I learned was that geriatric care managers do the pills, daily money managers do the bills. And essentially, that's what we were doing for my mom. And I realized that there was a huge need. People did not know about community Medicaid. And I kind of started from there. But in 2015, I started my business. A couple of years after that, my son joined me, Jacob Gordon, and we work together, and we have a couple other employees, and we help people, organize the demands of their daily lives, their daily financial lives. And generally what happens as people age, there might be some loss of executive function, so they're having trouble paying their bills, they're having trouble taking care of their household, many different things. And so we assist in those matters.
That's really good. What I will tell you, Peter, is in my experience, I know when I go to the home of the seniors, oftentimes they have their bills there and they have their checkbook there, and they're like, Miss Murphy, I think I'm past due on this bill. Can you tell me what it says? So they're so vulnerable and frail that they're actually come to a point where they don't even open up the mail to see what the bill says. They leave it in a pile waiting for that trusted person to come through the door to help them. So an organization like yours is really critical in the community because you would be considered one of those trusted people. It's very scary when they go across to the neighbor that just moved in to help them write out a check because they can't read the bill. And that's what an organization like yours prevents from happening. Wouldn't you say, Andrea?
Absolutely. The people, you see piles of mail, you see piles of paper, and you definitely see piles of bills. I really liked also, Peter, that the GCM takes care of the pills and you take care of the bills. That was really, really great. I just want to give a shout out at this moment, if you don't mind, to Andrea Ogle, who has joined us. I just wanted to say that Andrea Ogle is distinguished to be the first Asian American nominated to be a civil court judge here in New York. And she says that she was grateful that she's here because we are very informative, Peter. You're being very informative and we appreciate it. So do us a favor, tell us a little bit more about what a daily money manager does for their clients.
So we work in teams, and I think this was alluded before, especially with Yvonne. The way we work is that we don't have a set team. I know a number of care managers. I know another number of attorneys, whether they're elder law attorneys or they might be trust and estate attorneys and home health care agencies. And we're brought into situations in any imaginable way by all different people. But the key is that we work as a team together to help our clients live the safest and best life that they can at that whatever point they are in their lives. For us as daily money managers, we do a lot of different things, but the backbone of our work is to manage their checking accounts and credit card accounts. And it could take a lot of different forms, but generally what we do is we download the data from their checking accounts and their credit card accounts into Quicken. And we do this monthly, and we reconcile everything. We make sure everything's correct. We categorize everything, so we see where everything's coming from and where everything's going to. And it can be time consuming in the beginning, but because we use Quicken, overall it's a smart application, and it remembers where things are being, what category any particular expense or income should go into. So it kind of develops over time and saves time as we go on. But then we produce a report, and we're able to see how much is coming in, how much is going out, and where it's going. And if there's a deficit, we work with our client to figure out, well, how are they going to make that up? And if there's a surplus, where that money is going to go. And we are not financial advisors. So we don't really manage finances. It's a little tricky there. And so people don't understand that. But we take care of all aspects of finance outside of the investing side. So we generally work with our clients' financial advisors. And we're agnostic as far as to who we work with. We don't bring somebody in. And there
So-
might be a need to do that. And if we do, we do.
So Peter, can you just give us a quick little story about how you prevented financial abuse? Something very
Absolutely.
short, because we're
We're
getting
running out
close
of
to
time.
our time. Mhm.
Sure. So we had a client who we did exactly what I was talking about. We would look at their checking account every month, go and pick up her bills. She actually was in Suffolk County. Excuse me. And her significant other's son was helping her before we came into the picture. We actually came into the picture because she had a stroke and had passed out, and she was medevaced away from her gym to the hospital and had huge insurance bills. So that's one of the things we do, is we help process insurance claims. And because she passed out, she couldn't get her insurance cards. And so we made sure that everything was covered as it should be. And over time, she asked if I could get involved in looking at her spending and helping her with her checking account. From the reporting we did, it became obvious that her significant other's son was ripping her off. And he was writing checks. And sometimes, and that she would sign, sometimes it was checks that he would sign. And it wasn't simple to take care of it. It should be. She was not working with Maspeth Savings. And I'm sure if she was, it would have been easier, but I didn't get a lot of help from the bank. And eventually I had to go to an assistant district attorney out in Suffolk County and put a lot of pressure on and have them put pressure on the son, who eventually stopped, but not until he stole about $70,000.
Oh, man. Well, thanks to you, you at least put a stop to that, right, Andrew?
Absolutely. And Peter, that was a great story. And, that's what happens. People family members take advantage of other family members. And thank you, Peter, for coming on here tonight and talking to us about being a daily money manager and the steps that you take to help them pay their bills, manage their finances, and keep them safe from financial abuse, whether it's from a family member or whether it's from outsiders coming in to try to hurt them. Because they're the most vulnerable. They're sometimes the most gullible because they want to be nice and they want to be helpful. People come to them and now like you told us, we heard the story about the grandchild from Laura, but in my I can tell you the story about my mom. My mom was pretty savvy, who has worked as a bookkeeper for me for a very long time. She got a call from somebody. She was working on her computer. Someone, called into her for somehow, and she said he offered to do some computer services for her and to help her with her computer. Caught her at a sort of vulnerable time. She let this guy onto her computer with her to share screens and do some things. And, he basically took her down a path of, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, until finally he took her down the path that she needed to pay him. And he told her, we need you to go to the store and get some iTunes cards to pay. Now, one thing I will say, no one's ever asked me to pay them an iTunes card. And, it's not a very normal type of, it's not a normal request. So when she actually went to the store,
Wow.
the people there said, well, why do you need $300 worth of iTunes cards? That's not a normal purchase. And then she told them what was happening. And the good thing is, she kind of had a moment of clarity by telling these people what was happening. And then she felt really, really embarrassed. She didn't want to tell anybody that it happened. And finally, she did, talk to us and told her about what had happened. But something that would have been $300 out of her pocket to give to some stranger who was looking like they were helping. And, she basically made sure, we made sure that her computer was clean. She stopped taking this guy's calls and he kept calling and kept calling and kept calling. But that's what happens. You go
Absolutely.
down that rabbit hole and who knows what's going to happen. But what happens also is you need people to help take care. So Yvonne, I'm going to let you talk to them a little bit about how you, as a geriatric care manager, and as how Beacon has to have helpful, health aides come in and how you help to fight elder financial abuse.
Thank you very much. So what I tell people when I meet them is every position is my position. Every base is my base. The whole area is my area. The reason why I say that is, as a geriatric care manager, when I walk into the house, as I'm speaking to the patient, I'm looking on the ground. I'm looking at the walls for the wires. I'm looking for frayed wires. I'm looking for carpet that's pulled up. I'm looking for mosquitoes or flies if the home isn't clean. I'm paying attention to what's in the refrigerator when they offer me some water or juice. I'm looking at what's in the cabinets when they touch the cabinet door. I'm watching how they walk as they get up from the table to go get me something to drink. My eyes are on everything because everything is my position. So with that said, as a geriatric care manager, I had a doctor's office that reached out to me. He had two little ladies that was coming to his office, receiving medical treatment for about 20 years. And he said that now they come to the office and their hair is matted. Their clothes are the same. Every time he sees them, they're dirty. They kind of have a smell to them. And he said that there's a good neighbor that's been bringing them to his office lately, but she never leaves him alone with the patients so that he can have a conversation with them. Since I was doing work for some of this doctor's other patients, he actually offered to pay my consultation fee so that I can go over and check on these two little ladies, because he's had them as patients for so long, he perceived them as family members. When I went to their home, I realized that the good neighbor has gotten involved in their situation. She convinced the two ladies to sign her as a power of attorney. She added the two ladies onto her bank account. And as I was speaking to the two ladies, the neighbor would continue to interrupt me. And she would answer the questions and she would talk over them. And the two ladies seemed fearful to get in front of her to answer the questions. So what I did was I just showed up the next day without an appointment, without the lady. And the two little ladies let me in because they were trusting. And I realized that there's no food in their refrigerator. They had a pile of disconnection bills. They had medical situations that they had prescriptions to be refilled and they were sitting on the table not filled. But I will tell you, there was a visiting nurse in there. There was physical therapy. There was occupational therapy. There was home care from another agency, and no one was paying attention to the neighbor. No one was paying attention to the fact that there was no food, and she would bring each and every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and she was controlling their bank accounts. Well, what I did was, in asking the woman questions, I realized that she had their house up for sale and she was selling the house, and the two little ladies didn't even realize it. So at that point, I realized that as a geriatric care manager, I'm the first line of defense to protect these seniors in the community. I reported her to Adult Protector Service. I reported her to 911, and I reported her to the local district attorney's office. And this woman was actually brought up on charges, and she was sent to jail. And the money was never recouped, but I at least stopped the woman from selling their home, which would have rendered them effectively homeless. So what I want to leave everybody with is home care doesn't just mean home care. Geriatric care management doesn't just mean geriatric care management, especially working with a company like Beacon Elder Care, where I certainly have a holistic view and approach to everything that's going on in terms of service delivery. And my employees are also groomed with the information and the encouragement that they're my hands and feet in the community, and they're my front line of defense to let me know if a family member is not bringing food, if a family member is not providing the resources that they're supposed to. And I'm the first and foremost person that will sound the alarms to make sure that my seniors are safe in the community. the same as yourself, Andrew, with the estate planning. Geriatric care managers work very closely with elder care attorneys because the elder care attorney helps to plan for your money, which helps you to pass on generational wealth. Isn't that true, Andrew?
Absolutely, especially since staying at home and aging in place is the best result for seniors. And thank you for explaining how you take every seat at the table. I like that. It's
There you
important.
go, Andrew. You could use that if you want to, okay?
All
But that's
right.
my line.
You got to take every seat at the table, because the truth is that, like you said, the physical therapist walks in, gives physical therapy, doesn't see that the woman has matted hair and doesn't, it smells badly and is being taken advantage of her next door neighbor. And that is basically the network of professionals that have to work together, right? We need to work together as allied professionals and to make sure that our seniors are safe, that they can afford what they, that they can afford to have the care that they need and get it at the place that's most important and that they want at home, right? I mean, we have allied professionals, businesses working together like Mass Federal and giving out, doing these kind of, presentations in the community, explaining what these scams are and how people get taken advantage of. We have Peter, who deals with as a daily money manager, helping people in their home, dealing with their bills, making sure that they're getting the services they need, making sure their life is good, being a fiduciary, a power of attorney, trustee for people who don't have family around here, or being the advocates for the family that lives out of town to help do with all the different things. Geriatric care manager, whole health cares agencies like Beacon and Yvonne Murphy, who sits at every seat at the table, makes sure that she sees, keeps her eyes open, sees all those things that other people don't see, because she's trained to do that. She knows what needs to be done, and she cares about her clients on a deeper level than most people. And here at the Estate Planning and Elder Law Group, where we treat people like our family, we make sure that we get the appropriate level of care by contacting the geriatric care managers, the daily money managers, the dealing with the banks. I have someone who just called me. They've stolen $400,000 from her bank account. It's not her bank account. She's the executor of the estate. We can't even, and you know something, unfortunately, we have issues with probate, right? Probate is a process that takes a very long time to go through now. And if you don't have control over those assets and you have to depend on the surrogate court, you have to wait often to get control. And in this waiting nearly a year for us to get letters testamentary, this executor now called me. Yesterday, she received a statement showing that 400,000 plus has been taken out of the account. Other ways of doing planning is important. We help you avoid those kind of things by doing planning. Failing to plan is a plan to fail quite often. And the same thing is having money, being able to pay for everything often involves doing proper planning so that you can afford to get the care that you need. Still, New York State still has a great community program, community Medicaid, that helps people stay at home. We still have old rules in effect before the new implementation of rules that are going to make it much more expensive to get home health care. We're now dealing with the older rules where there's virtually no penalty period for transferring property so that you can be qualified to get help at home. I urge you, speak to people like myself, Yvonne, others who deal with helping people get Medicaid, because you will be surprised to find, most often people are, that you are able to qualify. Don't listen to people, don't listen to the plumber, don't listen to the painter, don't listen to the other people who had a cousin and a friend. Reach out and get the answer directly from the professionals as just the same thing. Help protect our seniors, stay at home, age in place, protect them from financial abuse. That's what we're all about. That's what we all have to be about as allied professionals to keep our seniors safe. Right, Yvonne?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Andrew, for that. It's critical information that we're passing out to everybody today. I want to remind our audience to write your suggestions to the bottom of the screen. And don't forget to take our satisfaction survey at the end of the show.
I think that we do have a little bit of time for a question and answer. We have a time to answer one or two questions. So
Think so.
what do we have in our question and answer box? In our chat box, we have, also, I want to remind you that in the chat box, you'll find the contact information for all of us here. And so I would suggest that you take down that information so that you have it if you need our help. The question and answer, I think we have 3 questions. The first one being how I know you can trust someone handling elder care. Would you like to take that
I
one?
can, sure, I can. So how do you know you can trust someone handling the elder care? That is always a good question to ask. And as Andrew and I have said on the show before, with home care, somebody, you call for a home health aide, they just ring the doorbell and they come inside the house.
It's like Married at First Sight, right? You get to meet them as soon as you walk in the door.
That's right. But you date a lot of people before you marry them, right? And in home care, poof, somebody just shows up.
Right.
What I would like to tell you is, as a licensed agency, our home health aides, they're fingerprinted. We do background checks on them. If there's ever any issue in the future, if they're currently working for us, that they run into trouble with the law, we will get a notification from the police that these fingerprints that they have on file, this person has a criminal issue. And then depending on what that criminal issue is, we have the discretion to either terminate the person or suspend them off the case until they take care of their situation. But we most certainly, our goal is to make sure that you can trust the person that comes through the front door of your house, because we've done what we can to vet them in the background.
Great answer, Yvonne. Great
Thank
answer. I think that we don't really have much more time
No,
to answer more questions, but please contact us if you have any questions or concerns about anything that we talked about here. Please contact Peter, contact Yvonne, contact myself, and also I want to remind you to please fill in your survey.
right.
Please fill in those surveys that you get, because it's really important that we understand how we're doing.
So just quickly, both Andrew and the estate planning group and Beacon Elder Care, we both have Facebook pages. We have Instagram and Twitter. So please follow Beacon Elder Care on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as the estate planning group. Beacon Elder Care also has a YouTube page where you can subscribe and see these videos anytime you'd like. And we also have informative videos that go up there.
Yes.
So Andrew, you want to tell about our next topic, since we
I
have
do.
just a
I
few
also
minutes?
want to thank everybody for, wow, we have a few more
We
minutes.
got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Get it in there, hurry up.
Okay, I feel like,
Andrew,
yes, sir.
there was a question about different types of power of attorney from Patricia Lincoln.
Okay.
Oh, can we
We
answer
can
that?
answer that one. So generally speaking, we deal with 2 types of powers of attorneys. We deal with financial types of power of attorneys.
We can't turn that beeping off?
I don't even know why it's beeping. I thought it was somebody else beeping because I didn't set a beeper. Okay.
There you go, Flo.
My thing said I had 6 minutes. I don't know why it was beeping. Anyway, a power of attorney, it can be either a financial power of attorney or a healthcare power of attorney. Healthcare powers of attorney, we generally refer to as healthcare proxies. So you can appoint someone who's going to make healthcare decisions for you if you can't, or appoint people to help deal with your property, your finances, your business issues, and also deal with your planning if you have proper instructions in your power of attorney in the event that you need to do planning. Because once you become incompetent or incapacitated, if you don't have those documents in place, we need to go get a guardianship, right? Guardianship is as it says, even in the statute for guardianships, it's the last resort, right? We want to have other resorts, and that resort that you can use to take control over it is to have a power of attorney in place. So
Absolutely.
I will say that thank you, Peter, for noticing that. But I also want to say thank you all for coming here tonight. Obviously, there's lots of different things that you could do with your time, right? And you spend some time with us. Hopefully, you'll continue to come back on the last Thursday every month and come and spend some time with us as we give you information that you can use so that you can pass it on to others who need it. And thank you, Yvonne, for reminding them that we have information on our websites,
That's
either
right.
at Beacon Elder Care or at the Estate Planning and Elder Law Group. We have YouTube videos to explain lots of different things. We have, Facebook, Instagram. We're always out there putting out information to make sure that our constituents always have information about things. And so next month,
Mhm.
we're going to be doing gadgets for seniors. It's going to be a review of the latest gadgets to make living at home safe, more comfortable, and more efficient. And as well, we'll talk about using the strategies so that you can pay for staying at home through elder law and estate planning.
That's right.
So,
And it's October 28th at 7 PM is our next seminar, Dessert with Andrew and Yvonne. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Make sure if you need any information, you can reach out to info@beaconeldercare.com. Andrew Gelosa has his information in the chat bar, and we really appreciate you guys coming. So it's a wrap, folks.
well, one other thing, let's say thank
more
you, Jan Sanchez, for the
Oh,
Queen's
yes,
and the Queen's
John.
Pleasure, for everything that you do. And thank you, Tiffany, for making everything run behind the scenes. You did another great job this week. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Laura. And thank you all for coming. And so I think that we kept our 3 promises.
Yes, we did.
So please fill out those surveys and say it again, Yvonne.
And it's a wrap, folks.
There you go. Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you. See you next month.
Good night.